There are moments in life when your heart understands the truth, long before your mind is willing to face it. That night, when he walked through the door, I felt it. A cold, slicing intuition that didn't come from suspicion, but from something deeper, something ancient, something primal. He hugged me, but it wasn't warmth. It was a performance. A hug that lasted 1 second too short, and carried a scent that wasn't mine. Not perfume, not body spray. Something quieter, more intimate, like the faint warmth of someone else's skin still lingering on his clothes. He said, "Traffic was crazy, sorry I'm late." But his voice had no exhaustion, only guilt pretending to be tired. I smiled back, pretended nothing felt wrong, pretended the ground under my feet wasn't shifting, pretended I didn't feel a stranger standing in front of me, wearing my husband's face. For years his phone was nothing, left on tables, thrown on couches, forgotten in jackets, unlocked, untouched, unguarded. But suddenly, it became a fortress, always face down, always on silent, always glued to him like it held a second life he never wanted me to see. He started smiling at messages he never explained, laughing at conversations I wasn't part of, breathing differently when it buzzed. And at night, when he thought I was asleep, I'd hear the light tapping of his fingers on the screen, typing fast, typing long, typing like his heart was somewhere else, and he was trying to keep it alive. One night I whispered, "Who are you talking to?" He froze, just for a second, but I felt it. The guilt, the panic, the silent calculation of what lie to choose. He whispered back, "Just work," but his hands were shaking, as if the lie itself weighed more than he could hold. Her name entered our home softly, like dust floating in sunlight, barely noticeable, but impossible to ignore. He said she was just a colleague, someone who helped him through a stressful project, someone who understood the pressure he was under, someone he trusted. But the way he said her name was the way a man speaks of someone who touched a part of him he didn't know was touchable. Warm, soft, careful, almost reverent. He talked about her kindness, her intelligence, her support. Support. That word stabbed deeper than betrayal itself. Because when a man says another woman supports him, he isn't talking about work. He's talking about connection, emotional intimacy, the kind of bond that grows in the shadows, while your relationship slowly bleeds in the light. One night he even said, "She just gets me." And that sentence didn't just break my heart. It buried me alive. He said he had to work late. A project deadline, an emergency meeting, a last-minute client call. But his shirt was too neat. His hair was too styled. His voice was too rehearsed. When a man lies with confidence, it doesn't sound like uncertainty. It sounds like a story he has already practiced, in someone else's bedroom. He kissed my cheek before leaving. Not my lips, my cheek, like I was a relative, or an obligation, or something he needed to maintain, so his guilt wouldn't crush him. He said, "Don't wait up." And I didn't, because deep down, I knew who he was really going to see, who he was really working with, who he was really giving the version of himself that used to belong to me. There is a specific kind of pain that pushes a person into action, not because they want the truth, but because the truth is already suffocating them. That night the agony was too loud to ignore. His lies, his detachment, the perfume that wasn't mine, the sudden need to protect his phone. the emotional absence. It all piled on top of me, until I felt like I was drowning under invisible weight. So I grabbed my coat, my keys, my courage, and followed the man I thought I knew, to see the version of him he had become, when he believed I wasn't watching. I didn't expect peace. I didn't expect clarity. I didn't even expect to feel strong. But I also didn't expect to lose myself. In the darkness of the truth, I was about to witness with my own eyes. And nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for what I saw next. The city felt colder that night. The kind of cold that doesn't come from the weather, but from the hollow places forming inside your chest. I followed his car from a distance, hands trembling on the steering wheel, heart pounding in a rhythm that didn't feel human anymore. He didn't drive toward the office. He didn't drive toward the client building. He didn't even take the route to downtown. He turned into a quiet, dimly lit parking lot. The kind meant for hiding, not for working. He parked, turned off the engine, and then waited, like someone expecting magic, or temptation, or salvation. I watched from behind a row of other cars, my breath fogging the windshield as my pulse climbed into hysteria. A few minutes later, she appeared, the woman he called his support, the woman he said understood him, the woman he had slowly built a secret world with, while destroying mine. She walked toward his car with confidence, not the awkward, hesitant steps of a colleague, but the warm, intimate stride of someone arriving to meet a man who already belonged to her. He stepped out of the car, and the way he looked at her destroyed me. His eyes softened, his shoulders relaxed, his sadness melted, his face lit up in a brightness he hadn't shown me in months. It was the look a man gives to the person who currently owns his heart. When he reached her, he didn't shake her hand. He didn't offer a polite greeting. He didn't keep distance. He pulled her into a hug. Not a friendly hug. Not a thank you hug. A slow, deep, familiar embrace, full of relief and longing and unspoken promises. His hand slid to her lower back, like it had been there before, like it belonged there. She rested her head on his chest, like she had done it many times, like she knew exactly where to place it, to feel the heartbeat she had stolen. I felt my world collapse. In the quiet of that parking lot, people always talk about heartbreak like it's dramatic, crying, screaming, breaking things. But real heartbreak, it's silent, it's paralyzing. It's the moment when your soul detaches from who you thought you were and falls into a darkness you can't describe. And watching him hold her, with the tenderness that used to be mine, was the most violent silence I've ever survived. They talked, softly, closely, intimately, not about work, not about stress, not about projects or deadlines, but about plans. I watched his lips form words like, tonight, maybe after, she doesn't know, I missed you. He touched her hair. She touched his face. They smiled at each other, like two people in a world built entirely for them, a world I didn't exist in. And then, she handed him something, a small envelope. He opened it with a shy grin, a grin I hadn't seen in a long time. Inside was a photo of the two of them, together, smiling, happy, close, too close. A photo taken in a place he had told me he visited alone. I felt the truth punch through me, with brutal clarity. He didn't cheat because he was unhappy. He cheated because he was happy, with someone who wasn't me. There are moments in life when time stops. Not metaphorically, but genuinely stops. The air freezes. The sounds fade. Your body forgets how to exist. When she stepped closer to him, tilting her face up with anticipation, I felt my heartbeat in my throat. He didn't hesitate, not even for a second. He leaned down and kissed her. Not a guilty kiss, not a mistake, not a moment of weakness, but a kiss filled with hunger and affection and familiarity and passion and all the things he claimed he no longer felt in his life. Her hands wrapped around his neck. His hands held her waist. Their bodies fit together like they had practiced, like they had memorized each other, like they were two halves of a story I was never part of. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just shattered. Quietly, completely, irreversibly. I drove home in silence. Not because I was strong, but because my mind was too numb to create sound. Every memory of him felt poisoned now. Every laugh, every promise, every moment we shared. I walked into our bedroom and stared at the bed we'd built a life in. The bed he had now contaminated with the ghost of another woman. I sat on the edge, hands shaking, heart dying slowly, like a candle burning underwater. And for the first time, I whispered a sentence I never imagined would cross my mind. He doesn't love me anymore. Not because he cheated, but because he didn't even look conflicted. When he did it, he had already chosen her, long before I ever suspected. And the cruelest part, he looked happier with her than he ever looked with me. In the final months of our marriage, I wasn't fighting for love anymore. I was fighting a memory that no longer existed. Morning light used to feel soft, warm, comforting. The gentle reminder that life continues. But that morning, the sun felt cruel. Its brightness exposed every truth I was trying to hide in the dark. Its warmth mocked the coldness inside my chest. And its silence reminded me that nothing was ever going to be the same again. He woke up cheerful. Too cheerful. He kissed my cheek as if he hadn't kissed another woman hours earlier. He poured himself coffee, humming a song. The same song that used to be ours. Now it tasted bitter every time it replayed in my mind. He didn't notice the way my hands shook while holding the mug. He didn't see my swollen eyes or hear my trembling breaths, because he wasn't looking at me. He hadn't been looking at me for months. He had become a man who lived two parallel lives, and I was waking up in the wrong one. He said he would be working late again. He said a new deadline had popped up. He said the team needed him, all before finishing his first cup of coffee.
If this story hits you, you can support the channel with a quick hype.
Every sentence sounded like it was dipped in poison. Smooth on the surface, deadly underneath. He avoided eye contact. He always avoided eye contact when he had already planned something with her. I asked softly, "Do you still want this marriage?" He froze. A split-second freeze. Barely visible, but loud enough to shatter the entire kitchen. Then he smiled. A forced, uncomfortable smile. A smile that said, "Don't make this harder. Don't ask questions I can't answer truthfully." He replied, "Of course I do, you're overthinking again." But the word again carried a sting. A dismissal. A blame. A subtle shift of guilt onto me, so he could carry on with her, without feeling like the villain. He asked for a second cup of coffee, as if nothing was breaking, as if I wasn't breaking. The universe has a cruel way of speaking. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it screams. But that day, It showed me everything, without mercy. At the grocery store, I saw her name on a receipt he had dropped in the car. Small, printed, undeniable. At home, his shirt smelled faintly like her perfume, a scent I now recognized far too well. Later, I found a message preview on his smartwatch. Last night was perfect. I felt the floor tilt beneath me, as if the room itself couldn't bear the weight of that sentence. My hands went numb. My throat closed. My heart thudded violently against my ribs, as if trying to escape the truth that held it hostage. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a phase. It wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a relationship. A real connection. A steady, growing, living thing. Built behind my back, while I was trying to save what he had already burned. He didn't cheat because he was lost. He cheated because he found something. He didn't think I could give him any more. That evening, I stood in front of the mirror, and the woman staring back at me felt unfamiliar. Pale, tired, eyes hollowed by secrets that weren't hers. Heart crushed by a battle she didn't start. I touched my reflection, tracing the outline of a woman who once believed she was enough. But in that moment, I wasn't wondering why he cheated. I was wondering why I stayed. Why I accepted less love than I deserved. Why I silenced my instincts. Why I allowed his coldness to convince me I needed to try harder, when he wasn't trying at all. The mirror didn't show a broken woman. It showed a woman who was dying, from holding on to someone who had already let go. Tears slid down my face. Quiet, trembling, exhausted tears. Not because I missed him, but because I missed myself. He came home late again. Except this time, I didn't hide my shaking hands. I didn't pretend to smile. I didn't pretend to believe his recycled excuses. He entered the living room, removing his jacket carelessly, until he saw my face, my expression, my stiffness, my silence. He felt it instantly. The shift, the energy, the truth I wasn't saying yet. He cleared his throat, forced another lie. Long day, what's wrong? I didn't answer. I just held up his smartwatch. The message, her name, the timestamp, the proof. His face turned pale. The mask slipped. The room collapsed into a suffocating stillness. He swallowed hard, trying to piece together a lie fast enough to survive. But this time, there was no lie strong enough to hide behind. He opened his mouth, closed it, lowered his gaze, and in that moment, without a single word spoken, I saw something devastating. He wasn't sorry. He was scared. Scared of losing comfort. Not me. And that truth hurt more than the betrayal itself. The air between us felt thick, so heavy it almost resisted my breathing. He finally whispered, "It's not what you think." But liars always start with that sentence. Always. His voice shook. Not because he regretted what he did, but because he regretted getting caught. He sat down across from me, legs bouncing, hands clasped together like he was praying for a version of the truth that made him look less guilty. He tried to soften his tone, to sound gentle, to sound like the man I once trusted. She's just someone I talked to when things got rough between us. A conversation. Is that what he called? Kissing her, touching her, leaving the bed we shared, to sleep in someone else's arms. He continued speaking, as if each sentence was a small patch, trying to cover a giant hole in the wall. I wasn't thinking clearly. It just happened. You were distant. I felt lonely. There it was, the final stab, turning his betrayal into my responsibility. I looked at him, and for the first time, he felt like a stranger in my house, a stranger wearing my husband's face, and using his voice to break me one sentence at a time. The apology wasn't for me. It was for himself, to ease his conscience, to justify his choices, to protect his comfort. Not my heart. Never my heart. Silence filled the room. Sharp, metallic, dangerous. I asked one question. Do you love her? His jaw tightened. His eyes darted away. His breath hitched. Not a single word came out. And his silence was the loudest truth of my entire marriage. I didn't need the verbal answer. The way his chest rose and fell too quickly. The way he couldn't look at me. The way he clenched his hands, as if holding on to a secret he wasn't ready to confess. I knew. He didn't cheat because he was weak. He cheated because he felt something. Something he didn't want to admit. That realization ripped through me like glass. I asked another question. How long? His lips trembled before he finally muttered. 6 months. 6 months. 6 months of lies. 6 months of excuses. 6 months of cold shoulders. Late nights. Fake deadlines. Secret smiles he thought I didn't see. He had been living a double life and expected me to believe. It just happened. My breath left my body. My hands turned cold. My voice broke. I wasn't losing him. I had already lost him. Half a year ago. While he talked, something shattered inside me. Not the marriage. Not the trust. Not the hope. But a memory. A memory I had kept safe for years. A memory I thought was ours. 3 months ago, we had gone on a weekend trip. He said he wanted to reconnect. He held my hand. He kissed my forehead. He looked at me like he was trying. I believed him. I cherished those 2 days as a sign we were fixing things. But now, I knew the truth. He had already been with her, already touched her, already shared secrets with her. He wasn't reconnecting with me. He was trying to silence his guilt. For a weekend, before returning to her arms, the memory twisted into poison. Something warm turned cold. Something precious turned rotten. It was the moment I realized the marriage wasn't dying. It was already dead, and I was the only one still performing CPR. He reached for my hand. A reflex, a habit, something automatic, not heartfelt. I pulled my hand away. For the first time, I saw panic in his eyes. Real panic. The panic of a man who finally understood what he stood to lose. His voice cracked. Please don't do anything drastic. We can fix this. Fix? Fix what? A heart that had been shattered. A trust that had been burned. A woman who had been replaced. Months before she even realized it. I stood up, my voice steady in a way that scared us both. I'm done trying to fix something you weren't trying to keep. His breath hitched. His lips parted. He whispered my name, like a prayer he forgot until it was too late. But I was already walking away. Not because I wanted to leave, but because staying meant killing myself slowly. And I refused to die for a man who lived for someone else. I walked to the bedroom, pulled out a suitcase, and began packing. Not dramatically, not loudly, not in anger, But in clarity, each folded shirt felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. Each zipped compartment felt like sealing a wound. He stood in the doorway, eyes wide, face pale, hands shaking. "Please don't leave." But he didn't say, "I love you." He didn't say, "I choose you." He didn't say, "I'm done with her." He only said, "Don't leave." Because he didn't want change. He wanted convenience. When I walked past him with my suitcase, he whispered the question that comes too late in every betrayal. "What am I supposed to do now?" I answered without looking back. "Live with the choices you made." And I closed the door. Not on him, but on the version of myself that tolerated betrayal disguised as love. I didn't leave because he cheated. I left because he didn't fight for me, when it still mattered. And that was the real ending.
If you've ever felt this kind of pain, don't walk through it alone. Hit subscribe and stay with us. More real stories are coming.